Hello everyone! Today we're going to go over my top 10 highest price sales of items that sold in January 2023. And if you're interested in seeing what number one was, keep watching. If you are new here, my name is Kami and I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari. Yes, I'm now on 3 different platforms, which is crazy to me because I started at eBay probably 8 months ago and Mercari probably about a year and a couple months ago. So it's been a wild ride and I'm very happy to be on it. But today we're going to go over, like I mentioned, the top 10 sales in January. January sales were pretty average for me, a little bit on the low side, but the beginning of the month started off really dry and it got better as the month went along. How have your guys' sales been? I'm really interested to see. So if you'd like to just mention down below how your sales have been, and we can kind of chat all about that in the comments. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. I am gonna go over my overall January numbers and then we'll get into my top 10 sales. All right, so I just recently came back to YouTube, but a year plus ago when I was doing what sold videos, if you were an OG from back then, you know I read it off of my iPad. So if I do look down, that's all that is. I'm not being weird and just not looking at the camera. But to go over January's sales, so in total, I sold 114 items across technically 4 platforms, and we'll get into that here in a second. But to break that down, I sold 86 items on Poshmark, 26 items on eBay, a whole 1 item on Mercari, and then technically 1 item on the Referral. I've really slowed down on what I'm sending them. I wasn't sending them a whole lot of stuff, but I'm just really cautious about how much my cost of goods is on those items and can I make more money selling it myself. What I've been sending them lately is just stuff I don't really want to bother with, and also things that I am not sure of their authenticity, that I pick up the bins and things like that. So they had a couple items, and in December this item sold, but I did not get paid out until January 15th for it. So I'm including it in January sales. That's just kind of how I've been doing the real numbers. So that was the breakdown of per platform, the number of items. My total dollar amount sold. Now this is going to include what the buyers paid me in shipping on eBay. So total dollar amount sold was $3,180.35. But of course we know that is not take home. So my total fees, including any shipping discounts I provided on Poshmark, as well as what I paid for in shipping charges on eBay, was $805.51. My total cost of goods across those 114 items was $508.62. So my total profit after all those fees and all the cost of goods was $1,866.22, or an average profit of $16.37 per item. So the reason why I say January was a little bit average is because January 2021 and 2022 were about the same dollar amount. However, across the year, for instance, in 2022, majority of the month, I did hit $2,000 or more of profit per month. So it was a little bit lower than kind of most of the other months. But for January, for me, it was pretty average. Like I mentioned, it was kind of dry there in the beginning of the month. But as the month went along, I think people started to recoup from Christmas shopping and all of that. You know, it got better. So let me know how you guys' January was in the comments below. But we are now going to go and look at my top 10 highest price sales of the month. But as we know, that's not always the number that we want to look at. It's also the profit per item. So I'm going to include a little bit of information about my cost of goods and things like that, how long it sold for, or how long it was listed before it sold. So we'll go ahead and get into that now. All right, so we're going to start number 10 and work our way to number 1 for my highest price sale. But number 10, and I'm going to scooch over this way so I can put up a picture here, was this Eileen Fisher blue fringe sweater. I love Eileen Fisher. Definitely the more substantial pieces bring the more money. Linen, wool, those type of materials will definitely up the sales price. But this sweater sold for $42.90 on eBay. So again, that did include what they paid me for shipping. It sold in 91 days. I love it when the items sell, of course, really quickly, but I really want them to sell within 90 days. So this was right about that mark. My profit ended up being $27.90. I do calculated shipping on eBay, so sometimes I lose some money, sometimes I make some money off of it. It ends up equaling out. So the next item was this pair of Good American Good Legs jeans. I've been doing okay with Good American. They definitely don't sell quickly for me, and the average sales price I feel like is going down for what I am able to get from them, but I will still pick them up. These sold for $45, and this pair actually sold really quickly, which was kind of surprising because again, they've been kind of sitting for a while for me. It sold in 2 days. My profit on this pair was $28.28, and it sold on Poshmark. All right, number 8 is this CP Shades Blue Silk Blend long sleeve top. The first CP Shades item I ever found was in South Carolina when we went there, and we went for vacation, but we thrifted. And that was also the binge trip that I found both of the Magnolia Pearl items that I have ever found. I was on a high, but this was the first time, or that was the first time I found it. And then when I got back like a week later in my own town, I found it again. So this item was that second item I found. It sold for $45.75 on eBay. It was listed for 68 days, and my profit was $30.75. Number 7 was a new item, and I believe I have a couple more newer items in here. I really love finding things that are new with tags, new with box, etc. But this was a pair of new with tags Duluth Trading blue women's Workday Warrior chino pants. They sold for $48.85 on eBay. They only took 46 days to sell, and my profit after, of course, all fees and cost of goods was $31.95. So that was a really good pickup. I believe I actually picked this up on a day where everything was 25% off, so that was really good, and they were in the Slack section. So I want to say it was somewhere around $4.99, $5.99 before that discount. So got those pretty cheap. All right, number 6. I got a lot of lowball offers on this, but I waited and it actually sold for full asking price. So it was this pair of Dansko Red Seasoned Tomato Wedge sandals. The Seasoned Tomato was like the style name, but they sold for full price, $50. I actually picked these up at the bin, so I think my cost of goods that day was $2 per item, and it took 57 days to sell, and my profit was $38 on Poshmark. All right, number 5, we're halfway through, was this pair of new Levi's wedgie jeans. These I picked up at the $5, $10, $15 Nordstrom rack sale. I actually picked these up while we were in South Carolina. The sale was going on while we were, on vacation, and so I went in there and picked up quite a few things. Actually, I think I only picked up like 3 or 4 things, but it was brands that I hadn't found before or really good styles like this. These sold for $55. They sold in 83 days, and my profit was $34, and they sold on Poshmark. Number 4 was this pair of Lululemon Black Groove pants. They sold for $55. They only took 12 days to sell, which was exciting for me, and they sold on Poshmark. For some reason, I don't have my cost of goods here, so I will put it right here. I don't know why I didn't write that down, but I'll have it right here. All right, number 3 was a pair of shoes. It was these Piccolinos black leather lace zip-up shoes. I love picking up this brand when I see it, and it's a decent price. It has always sold relatively high and relatively quickly for me. These sold for $57. They were listed for 48 days, and my profit ended up being $35.61, and they sold on Poshmark. All right, number 2 was this pair of new Lululemon Yellow Noir pants. They were very bright. I picked them up at Uptown Cheapskate when they were doing a really good clearance sale. They sold for $62.95 on eBay. They were only listed for 25 days, and my cost of goods was $28.86 because I did have a little bit higher cost of goods into this pair, but I was happy to pick up some new tag Lululemon, and they got a lot of attention in I believe mostly eBay, but a little bit in Poshmark as well. All right, my number 1 sale in January was this new without tags, and you'll probably see from the picture here, but it had the inserts that were in the pair of shoes, and I could tell that they had never been worn. So they were new without tag, Area black tall waterproof boots. Now these are not the typical boots that you think of when you think of Area, but I found these and they were a decent price while we were out of town thrifting, and so I picked them up. They sold for $100. I did give a $1.72 shipping discount, and they were only listed for 20 days. My profit after all fees and cost of goods was $59.90. I did have a little bit higher cost of goods in these because they were new without tags and they were area, so they did mark them up a little bit, but I was very happy with that sale and they sold very quickly. My only downfall with these tall type boots is USPS does not make the board game boxes anymore, which is what I used to use for taller boots. So now it's always really hard to find boxes that I can ship these out in without Frankensteining a box together. But let me know if you guys miss those or what kind of supply from USPS that they've gotten rid of do you guys miss. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had a really good January as far as sales go, and also just personal. I know life can be really hard after the holidays, so hopefully we're starting off our year really well. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button on your way out and subscribe if you like to see this type of reseller content, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.